Welcome back to Cigar Time, your friendly Tuesday night show all about premium cigars. Right?
Right.
Wednesday.
Wednesday. Tuesday.
Tuesday, is that what it is? Wow.
It's Tuesday at 7:32.
Martes.
We're late already.
We're late already.
2 minutes.
Okay, we want to thank all of you for your cards, letters, and pies, and we appreciate that.
Especially the
Boston
pies.
cream is my favorite, so, please, no, we have enough peach and apple.
Any
Really?
chocolate?
And I have to work with these
Does
people.
the phrase punch drunk mean anything to you?
We're very humbled and honored to have Larry Palumbo back.
Yay.
Nice to see you back.
Great to
Good
be here.
to see you.
Those of you who've been watching the last couple of weeks know that the largest cigar company in the world cannot make a move without Larry. He is
He's the
everything about the leaf, and we hope we've been educating you the last couple of weeks, and we hope Larry will finish with a big flourish and educate us all a little bit more. Right, Larry?
I'm here. I'm going to try my best.
That's all we want to
A
hear.
maestro among maestros.
Yep. Look like a king of kings,
Only better.
a man of men, or men of men.
Don't get him started.
Or something. The lovely Miss T will tell us all about our cigar today.
Our cigar is the Romeo by Romeo y Julieta. The wrapper is Ecuadorian Habano. The binder is Dominican Cuban seeded or Piloto. And the filler is a Dominican Piloto and a Dominican Olor. The sizes are Robusto, Pyramid, Toro Churchill, Bocados, which is a Petit Corona, and a Bocado Gordito, which is a
Wow.
bigger, small but bigger size. The taste
Small but
is
bigger?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a fat little cigar.
Small but bigger.
The taste is spicy. The strength is, I would say, more on the fuller side. And it's a dark, rich, oily, and very robust. So this is actually one of the stronger cigars that Romeo makes. They're normally known for their mild to medium, and this one is by far their strongest. Yes?
Absolutely. That was the idea behind it.
Thank
Yeah.
you. All right. I know more than you.
Well, don't stop now. Tell us some more about it.
All right.
One of your babies, I know that.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
my.
is this his
Actually,
baby?
it's my favorite cigar that we make.
Wow.
Romeo always had a reputation as being a sort of a mild to medium-bodied cigar, and the company wanted to sort of break the mold. And we set out with that in mind, that we wanted to make something that was more robust, more flavorful, and I think we've done a great job. This is as I said, it's my favorite cigar. It has an Ecuadorian Cuban seed wrapper. It's what we call upper priming. It's from the top of the plant. It's a dark, oily, heavy leaf, which imparts a lot of flavor into the cigar. The binder is a Dominican, what we call Piloto Cubano. It's a Cuban seed that was brought from Cuba actually in about the 1962-63 when the embargo went into effect, and cigar manufacturers in the U.S. had to find other sources for cigar tobacco. So the DR was really the first country that a lot of the old Cuban growers that left Cuba went to the DR, and they started raising this Piloto Cubano. It's basically a filler tobacco, and it's a binder tobacco. So we're using the binder on this particular cigar, and the filler is a mix. It's all Dominican. There's no Nicaraguan in it, and it is Piloto. It's from an area called La Canela, which is an area outside of Santiago that's renowned for its strength. It's one of the areas for Dominican tobacco that produces heavy, full-bodied tobacco. And we blend it with Olor, which is an old traditional Dominican seed that's been grown on the island for, I don't know, a long, long time. It's a completely different leaf. It's much bigger in size. It's narrower, and it's a spicy tasting tobacco. Not many manufacturers actually use Olor tobacco, but we use it both as a binder in some of our other cigars as well as filler. So I was really surprised when we developed this that we came up with a cigar that has this much strength and spiciness to it, with primarily Dominican tobacco with the Ecuadorian wrapper. And I don't know if you guys have tried this, but I think it's really a great cigar.
didn't this get it's got a very high rating in Cigar Aficionado, the top.
94?
It was the number 3 cigar of
Number
the
3?
year. Yes.
The Premiun
Yes.
was, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we were
pretty-
very pleased with that.
Yeah, you-
I bet. And that was right after it was released. Was
Correct.
it the year number
year,
1?
the first year it came out, it was the number 3 rated cigar.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
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 Mazel tov.
Thank you.
What?
that's my line.
Pretty good for an Italian.
Yeah,
Hey,
right.
really?
I know, that's why I looked at him.
Hey, muzzle though.
Actually, that year, I think either the number 1 or 2 or the second rated cigar was the Cuban. So this was
That's right.
number 2 outside of Cuba.
Right.
Oh, wow.
But it really helped to change the image that Romeo had in the marketplace.
Yeah, being a mild to medium cigar.
Correct. And this really has some flavor and spiciness to it.
Now, I'm going to guess you've made countless trips to about every tobacco growing country in the world. Would I be safe in assuming that?
Correct, right. Because I buy not only tobacco for premium cigars, but I buy it for, we make a lot of mass market cigars like Dutch Masters, El Producto, which utilizes tobaccos from really all over the world, like India. I've been to India, Indonesia, Germany, Italy, Argentina, Brazil, Paraguay, Colombia, Ecuador, all through Central America, the DR. Years back, we used to buy even tobacco in Jamaica.
I have to ask a question just between the two of
Yes.
us. Have you ever been to Cuba?
No, I have not.
Okay.
How about Connecticut?
But I've been to Miami. So
Okay, that's close.
That's
That's
close.
There's
close.
more Cubans in Miami than in
Cuba, anyway.
Probably, yeah.
Do you have a favorite wrapper or a favorite flavor tobacco or something from a country that you like the flavor of the most?
Well, wrappers, I'm very partial to Ecuadorian wrappers.
Oh, forget it.
okay?
Go ahead, you two.
It's
That's,
either
that
Cuban-
should set you off.
Me too.
Ecuador produces 3 types of wrappers. It's Connecticut shade, which is a seed that was grown in Connecticut. It's now being grown in Ecuador. Sumatra seed and a Cuban seed. Those are the 3 seeds that are. Ecuador is unique in that the climate is very cloudy, so you can grow wrapper tobacco without the benefit of shade, the cloth to filter the sun. We have a farm in Connecticut that grows Connecticut shade, and there we sort of tent the fields with a cheesecloth that filters about 40% of the sunlight out, and it also traps the heat and humidity under the tent, which makes the tobacco grow very fast and produces a thin tobacco. Actually, it was the Dutch. The history of Connecticut shade goes back to the late 1800s when the Dutch were the primary suppliers of cigar tobacco, and they had a big market for tobacco in the U.S., so they tried to duplicate the growing conditions of Indonesia in Connecticut, and that's where they came up with this idea of tenting the fields to create a
Trap,
cloudy
yeah.
environment and also trap the heat and humidity. And that was done probably at the turn of the 1900s, somewhere around there, where they first experimented with it. And they've been doing that since the last 120 years now.
Which brings up an interesting question again.
Yes.
I think I came up with a pretty good question last show.
It was all right.
Red letter day.
I know, right? That's okay.
Tough crowd. This is a very tough crowd.
It's your crowd, though.
I know. You have to remind me. Since Altadis also is a very large manufacturer of machine goods,
Right.
and most machine goods are dry cured and don't need to be humidified, what is the process that separates the premium leaf, which needs to be at a certain temperature when it's stored, that is, when it's sold in the retailer, needs to be humidified at a certain humidity? Why is it that dry cure cigars can just, I mean, I know the answer, but I'm sure a lot of people at home don't know the
Tell
answer.
me the answer.
Nah, it won't sound as good coming out of me. But
Yeah, that's true.
what
like 10
makes
minutes.
the tobacco be able to not have to be humidified?
Well, I don't know what you mean by, in all honesty, about not being humidified. Basically, a premium cigar is long filler
Right.
with a natural binder and a natural wrapper. Mass market cigars are what we call short filler cigars.
Right.
The filler inside the body of the cigar are small pieces of tobacco that have been thrashed through machines to take the stem out and make a small piece of tobacco. It's usually then surrounded by a homogenized binder, which is not it's a sort of a byproduct of various tobacco ingredients like stems or siftings.
It's like a bad relation.
It's
Well,
Which is why it's
A distant
that,
relation.
which is why it's that
It's
thick.
right.
Tobacco bologna.
Right.
If you
yeah.
ever look at the binder of one of those, it's different. It doesn't look like a premium
Well, it's a
one at
sort of
all,
like
and it's really thick. It's like a tough.
It can be thick, but it's usually it's like a paper process, and it allows us to make cigars at a high rate, a high speed.
At an
Because-
But
inexpensive
for me,
price.
they still need to be
Right.
humidified anyway. I mean,
No, they don't.
Well, no, I think,
They
Larry,
can
I
still
think
dry out.
Maybe I'm not phrasing the question
The
right.
distinction that Art is looking for is on the dry cured European cigars.
Right.
Like
Yeah,
the-
that's
like
a different
Denobili-
animal.
Denobili and stuff like that.
Or a lot of the Villigers or Braniff or
Right, okay.
those kind of cigars that are not humidified at all.
That's right.
Okay.
That's more of a historic thing that the Europeans have always smoked basically very small cigars that are very dry.
Dry. They draw
That's-
easy. Yeah.
I was told, I don't know if this is the case, that because the climate supposedly in Europe is very humid, that they can get away with the dry
Right,
cigars
right.
in Europe.
And the English, up until maybe 20 or 25 years ago, never kept their humidors above 60.
Well,
I mean, the cigars obviously had a nice and easy draw to them.
Burn fast.
Which what we talked about before, the environment plays a factor of that too as well.
Well, the English environment tend
Yeah.
to be a little humid too.
Yeah.
But inside, they used to condition the humidors years ago to be no more than 60. We would consider 70. They considered it 60.
Regarding the actual wrappers that are used on these mass market cigars, basically, we have a farm. We're the only manufacturer that still has a farm where we raise Connecticut shade. What we do is we take the best tobacco from that farm and we use it on our premium brands, primarily Montecristo. But then it also, the farm produces wrapper, tastes the same, but the uniformity of the leaf isn't as sound or as uniform, and that ends up going on mass market cigars.
Interesting.
when you
Okay.
grow the tobacco, do you have fields or acres specifically designed just for wrapper, or do you just
Connecticut is only wrapper tobacco. There's two types of tobacco grown in Connecticut. One is the Connecticut shade, which is, as I mentioned, is grown under a tent. Also, what's grown there is broadleaf tobacco, which is a sun-grown tobacco. And that's basically used on Maduro cigars, which are very dark, heavy tobaccos. They're grown totally different. Broadleaf is, as I said, grown in the sun. Also, when the plant flowers, we snap the flower off so that all the energy of the plant that's left goes into producing heavy, thick leaves. When we grow Connecticut shade, we don't top the tobacco. We let the flower bloom because we want thin, silky
soft.
tobacco.
did not know that?
I'm learning that today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
That's a good
when a,
topic for
when a
some time.
plant is either, a tobacco plant is at the end of its life cycle, it tries to reproduce itself. And in the flower are these tobacco seeds, okay? So either the end of its life cycle, or if the plant is under some sort of stress, maybe the fields got flooded or there's very dry conditions, the plant will flower early. It's a very bad sign. You see that in tobacco. So with wrapper tobacco like Connecticut shade, we let the flower bloom because we were looking for thin tobacco. Broadleaf, when the flower starts to emerge, we snap it off, as I said, because we want heavy, thick leaves.
So could
Also,
And a lot
broadleaf,
more
the
flavor.
plant is actually stalk cut. We cut the whole plant and hang that in the shed and cure the whole stalk in the shed. While Connecticut shade is what we call prime tobacco, where we go through the fields every 7 to 10 days and pick the bottom 3 leaves. Those are called primings. A plant usually in Connecticut produces anywhere from 15 to 18 leaves, and we go through and pick 3 leaf priming at a time. So in Connecticut, we get 5 or 6 primings.
what's the purpose of this? Why stalk cut? What does that change in the tobacco? Why do it like that?
Okay. I can't answer this. I've just can tell you what people have taught me over the years is that when you cure the tobacco with the leaf still on the stalk, the moisture from the leaf goes into the stalk and it produces a tobacco that burns better. Okay? It's also easier to handle. You don't have to have people going through the fields every 7 to
Yeah.
10 days. What they do with the broadleaf is they stalk cut it, it topples over in the field, they let it wilt for maybe 2 or 3 hours so that the leaves start to wilt a little, and then hang the whole stalk. They put it on a lath with a hook and hang the whole plant there. The reason they want it to wilt is that way they can put more tobacco in the shed
Oh, yeah.
and create less breakage, so they can put the laths, which the tobacco, the stalks are hanging on closer together.
Do you know, does anybody have to do, you may know this also, I had heard that a lot of the nutrients and I guess the sweet part of the plant is at the root, and when you stalk cut it, you turn it upside down, a lot of those sugars
That could be
go down
true.
to the
Yeah.
leaves.
That
Well,
makes
even,
sense.
even more than the sugars, there's a lot of starch in the stalk. And when you, at least my understanding, when you stalk cut and hang it upside down, some of that starch winds up leaching back into the leaf while the moisture is going back into the stalk.
Right.
And the more starches and sugars you get into that leaf, the more fermentation it has to eat on and develop flavor.
Yeah, okay.
The advantage, obviously, of picking the tobacco by priming is that you pick the leaves when they're at their proper maturity. So, but you go through the field, say, 5 or 6 times, you're picking those 3 leaves at the point where they're properly matured on the plant.
Okay.
When you stalk cut it, you have different stages of maturity on the plant.
Right.
Most cigar tobacco is primed. There are some areas where it's still stalk cut, basically Connecticut, also Pennsylvania, Lancaster County, that area, that's also stalk cut, as well as Wisconsin. Wisconsin is primarily used for chewing tobacco. The years ago, 40, 50, 60 years ago, was also used in some cigars, but basically now it's not, it's basically used for chewing tobacco.
Is that a relatively new thing, the stalk cut, or has it been done
No,
for
that's
ages?
that's
It's
been done
old.
Yeah.
for a long
The
time.
the Ecuadorian swamp tobacco is also stalk cut.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's time to go around the panel and,
Start over there this time.
all right, we'll
I didn't
start.
think more
with
about
me.
this one.
Well, everyone that knows me knows I'm not a huge Romeo y Julieta fan because of the Dominican tobacco. I'm not a big fan of that. But I'm actually enjoying this cigar. As soon as I lit it up, I got that bold, robust flavor. It's not a Maduro, but it's really sweet. It has like a sweet finish to it
Yeah.
for some reason, right? And I like that. It's like I said, it's dark, rich, oily, and this is my favorite cigar out of the Romeo y Julieta line. So I like
Scott?
I agree with the sweetness. Interesting wrapper. It's kind of rough. I don't know
Thick.
if
Thick.
it. Thick.
yeah, I was gonna say I don't know if toothy is the right word, but yeah, it's a rougher. It's thicker. I think that's where you get a lot of the spiciness and the flavor from. I like the cigar a lot. I would have to agree with you that it's probably my favorite Romeo.
Yep.
Yeah.
Rob?
I can't say it's my favorite.
We know
know
it.
that.
Reserve a Real, we know that. One of Tia's favorites, too.
Yeah.
Remind me to tell you later a story.
Oh boy.
It is a very good cigar, though. It is thick. It's very full bodied. It's a kick-ass cigar. When I first lit it up, I got almost a chocolatey taste just at the first light up. After I lit it and took a couple puffs from it, that chocolate went away. But I do get the leather and cedar taste from it. I think it's very good.
And I'll finish it off.
No,
go
I'm going to
ahead.
finish it off because
You are going to finish it.
no, I have to do 100% about face.
Uh-oh.
I've had this cigar before, and I had some issues with it. I found it a little bit bitey. And in fact, Larry and I were talking about whether it was as a result of the higher priming of the plant being used as the wrapper on this. But I got to tell you, sitting here, it's not bitey at all. It's very rich. It's not the least bit harsh. So I just have to completely change my tune on the cigar. or to say the words that my children swear I never say,
You were wrong.
I was wrong.
Oh, wow. You heard it here first. Paul was wrong.
Paul was wrong. Well, I agree with what everybody said here. It's one of, as I said to Larry off air, I said this is one of my favorite cigars. I love this cigar. I mean, I like it even more than the Reserva Real. And even though it's a little stronger than, in my opinion, the Reserva Real.
It's a lot
Oh,
stronger.
definitely
It's a lot stronger.
stronger.
Reserva Real.
I'm being
They're
a
on
little
two different.
facetious.
They're on two different
That's being a
spectrums.
little facetious. It's a great cigar,
Yeah.
and I think it'd be worthy, I'm sure, the rating will be commensurate with how good a cigar it actually is. What's the price points on this one, Rob?
Around 6, right?
It's
Yeah,
like
it is.
650 to 850.
I know, I smoked it before.
I know you
This
smoked
is
it.
actually
what is
my
it,
first
6
time
what?
smoking this, so
Is it?
Really?
yeah.
What is it, 6 to what?
650 to
850.
850.
And I'm guessing the 850 is a big, thick cigar.
Yes, big cigar.
Larry, was this the first of the Maestro, the product of the Maestro's
This was the first one.
upgrading and updating
This was the first
blends?
one. I'll be honest with you, I wasn't happy. I didn't like it initially. I'll be perfectly honest. But, you know, our group, it's majority rules. We vote on it, and whatever the majority comes up with, that's what we go with. So I was in the minority on this cigar, but I've totally changed.
Who breaks the tie? So
There's majority
so
rules.
you said
Runner.
there's 10 people.
10 to 15.
We're an odd group.
Oh, okay.
Figuratively and literally.
Right.
Is
Well,
it an
what
upper?
surprised me is that we could make a cigar that has this kind of strength without Nicaraguan tobacco. in it.
Yeah,
It is
yeah,
very
that's
full
what.
bodied.
It's all
Yeah.
Dominican, basically, except
Yeah.
for the wrapper, but it definitely has a lot of spice and
Yeah.
strength to it.
Maybe because
Yeah.
it has that piloto and the olor working together,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
completely,
yeah.
makes it different.
It's
Doesn't
really,
she amaze you sometimes?
I know.
She's amazing.
Yeah,
She's
I'm always
amazing.
amazed by women.
Thank you.
Is your wife out in the audience?
She's over there. She's waving. There you go.
All right, well, let's go around and we'll put a number on it.
All right, I'm gonna go.
Or
with
do
the,
a number on it.
I'm gonna go with a 4.6.
Okay.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Why, what are we like the triplets?
465.
This is scary.
Why don't you two get a room?
Why, you gotta start over here.
Absolutely not. I can't sit next to
All right, guys, you go first.
I was gonna say 4.65, but Rob's too.
Okay, I'll go with a 4.6.
It's getting very confusing.
I'm going to go with a good solid 4.5.
Okay. I'm going to give it a 4.670.
Oh, my God.
Okay, what's that though?
Do the math.
4.643.7.
All right, quick, add this up. 15 to 25.
15 to 25?
Why you had to think about it?
15
You
to
really had to think
25.
about it, though.
40. It is
You had to
nothing.
think about it. I was trying to trick
How much
you.
is 25 times 25?
I don't know.
Isn't there a song like
6 and a
that?
quarter. At 25,
No, I really
25.
probably have to think about that and write it up.
No, it's a
Math
great
was
cigar.
not my favorite
Great,
subject.
great cigar. Great cigar.
Yeah, it's good.
And we've arrived at the portion of the program where I have actually nothing to say.
Okay.
Wow.
You want me to take over?
So take it over.
All right. Well, as those of you who watch the show know, we're running specials on all of the Altadis products. The Altadis ranges with the Romeo, the Monte Cristo. I'm going to cheat here. Vega Fina, Juan Lopez, Trinidad, St. Louis
Upman,
Ray,
H.
and
Don Diego.
the H. Upman. Or
Onyx.
the H. Upman.
Up and
So if you buy any 20, you get a 4 or 5 pack of cigars free.
So they can mix and match.
Mix and match. You can buy a box, so you get a 4 or 5 pack of premium cigars absolutely free. If you want to go with 10, you get the same pack for $9.95. If you buy 5 cigars, you get the same pack for $19.95.
and
Plus-
there's a minimum value of these packs of at least $30-some.
Yeah, they're premium cigars. It's an absolute great deal.
That's all the brands we've been discussing.
Yep. And we're going to have events this week, actually here in Horsham from 12 to 3.
Cool.
Again.
Yes, and then we're going to go, after that, we're going to go to Colmar from 5 to 8. And you get
Where's
to
that
meet-
at?
Colmar? It's up there.
Okay,
Up there somewhere.
It's up the street.
Up there.
Hatfield, Lansdale.
Is that the McCoys too?
Uh-huh.
Hatfield?
Montgomeryville.
Yep, Montgomeryville, yes.
Are we going to talk about the Vega Fina thing?
Uh-uh.
No?
No,
Never mind.
no.
No.
We're going to talk about it in a subsequent show.
Ah,
We'll just do a little teaser.
I think that's in 2 weeks,
Teaser.
I do
Be
believe.
like a teaser. Just focus on about $380 for less than $200. That's all we're going to say.
There you go.
Here we go with the math.
consider me teased.
Tease.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, good Lord.
Well, please continue.
Oh, no, that was everything I had.
That's it?
Yeah.
Can I ask you guys a question? Since you're on
Absolutely.
the retail end, how do you see Maduro cigars? Are they waning or
can
are
I
they
answer?
still popular?
I'd love to
Go
answer
ahead.
So
that.
one of my goals, I want to come out with a Maduro cigar, and I don't know.
I
I
would
love
definitely
it.
go that way. Maduro's, at least where I work at,
Uh-huh.
Advantage, sell off the shelf. I mean, a lot of people are looking for that dark, rich flavor, that
Mm-hmm.
sweetness. I just love the way they look. I think a Connecticut shade, like a lighter wrapper, is just kind of bland to me, which is probably why I'm not a big fan of the Romeo Reserve.
Our VP of Aesthetics.
I'm a huge Maduro fan. Anybody knows the first thing I pick up is a Maduro before
I think one of
anything else.
the things is, I don't know if it's waning, I just don't know that there's a whole plethora of really good Maduros out there.
True.
That's part of the problem.
And
There are
I
a
think
few that
I
come to
think I
mind,
think a puro maybe like a Nicaraguan puro in a Maduro is like one of my favorites. I love that. It's just
Part
they
of the
all have the
problem
same
is
the flavor all
part of
works
the problem
together.
is so many manufacturers, take the easy way out with a Maduro. And, it's not like an M&M; it comes off in your hand. So.
Right.
Yeah, they don't take the time to
Yeah, they don't.
ferment
They
it
don't. They
correctly.
don't use. They don't
so-
use the right lead.
Yeah.
But I also think that as consumers in general have developed a more sophisticated approach to cigars, they're coming to recognize that just because it's dark doesn't mean it's going to
Strong,
be intimidatingly
Right.
strong.
That's what people. A lot of
Absolutely.
people
yeah,
think
that's a
that.
good.
That's right.
Yeah,
It's
people do think,
psychological.
oh, if it's darker, is it stronger?
Well,
No.
Most of the
and I think
cigar,
they're starting to understand that.
but a lot of the cigars that are dark are strong. It just doesn't have anything to do with the fact that it's dark.
Or it has nothing to do with the flavor, because remember, strength is completely different from flavor.
Right.
So
And dark and Maduro are two different things.
But Larry, you certainly
Yeah.
can remember
Yeah,
when
this
we were
is dark.
younger, the cigars were green. I mean,
Candela.
AMS or Candela.
now see, I love a Candela. I think that has flavor.
Well, that's not most people's taste. And it evolved into Connecticut shade, and then into Maduro, and now you have all the variants of
Oscuro,
sun-grown.
and I love an Oscuro.
I think
La-
if Tia smokes one more cigar today, she's going to be Candela.
I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
Larry,
will
do
be
you
Candela.
make a Candela wrapper?
We actually buy a lot of Candela wrapper, but it's from mass market
Yeah, I
cigars.
figured that.
Okay.
But nothing on your premium side.
No.
You don't use
No.
any Mexican tobacco, or do you?
Yes, we do. We use Mexican Marron, the wrapper.
Oh,
Some
okay.
of our brands.
Okay,
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that.
How about Colombian tobacco?
We use it on some as a filler.
Filler, that's what we used to use.
Yeah, that's
it
what we use
for.
in our Eduardo.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a very it's a good tobacco to blend with other tobaccos.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
It
not
doesn't
much
have a
by
lot of
itself.
character of its own, but it burns very
It's
well.
easy, yeah.
And it just blends with other tobaccos.
Here we go. It
Yeah.
flew by.
Not enough of
Already?
I
barber
can't
poles.
believe how this half hour goes so fast.
Need more barber pole cigars.
Time to say goodbye, guys. And
We had a
gals.
great guest, that's why.
Life's too short to smoke cheap cigars. Hi, Mom.
Ciao for now, everybody.
And remember, smoke often and smoke happy.
Smoke sweet. Bye bye for now. Hi, Dad.
Well, Larry, this is our last show together. I hope it won't be too long before we're back
That
together
was a
again.
pleasure. I really
It was an honor
enjoyed
having you
meeting
here.
your group
Thank you,
here.
Larry.
Yes.
Your
Yeah,
posse.
it was-
Are you sure of that?
Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
thank
I'm
you.
in awe. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
And we hope we've educated you, and we thank you very much for viewing. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.